Let's get into our next topic because we are talking about Baker Mayfield. It's been a while since we talked a little bit about Baker Mayfield, but reportedly, as I predicted, and I think a couple weeks ago, actually, I just felt, it could be a good opportunity and an interesting situation. Baker Mayfield, supposedly the Bucs are reportedly going to talk to Baker Mayfield and hopefully bring him in as their veteran starting quarterback potentially, and at least create a QB competition for their second-round pick in 2021, Kyle Trask. Maybe create some quarterback competition. Maybe Kyle Trask is better than Baker Mayfield. Who knows? But do you think if the Bucs do sign Baker Mayfield, do you think he would be a viable option for them at the quarterback position?
Mm-hmm. I do, and I think they'll wind up in last place in their division this year.
So you think he's a good pick, but they're going to be last?
I think he's a viable pick. You asked if he was a viable pick. Sure, he played a lot of NFL football. He's been a starting quarterback in several places, and he's had mixed success. So, yeah, I think he's worth a shot. But I think that they're going to wind up in last place because I think they changed all their coaching staff. And I like Todd Bowles, but I don't think he's the right guy to be a head coach.
So you think that? Are you saying that, another, let's say, I don't know, they can't really draft a quarterback, but any other option, Andy Dalton, you think that would improve their chances? Or even bringing back Jameis Winston?
They're never going to bring back Jameis Winston, right? That's just not going to happen.
Maybe they will, who knows?
But I think that Andy Dalton, I think Baker Mayfield's a little bit better than him.
And Andy Dalton?
Yeah.
Andy Dalton kept his starting job. Baker Mayfield didn't.
Well, Baker Mayfield, he got off to a bad start with the Panthers, and he just didn't recover from it. When he got to the Rams, he played okay.
He had one good game.
Yeah,
one good game, and it was just because I don't know. The Raiders were just a weird team last year. They were supposed to be really, really good, and then everything just came crumbling down for some strange reason. But
yeah,
I think because I was a big supporter of Baker Mayfield heading into the season, and I just felt so, I'm not even going to say betrayed. I'm just going to say disappointed. Because I had a lot of faith. When the Browns first drafted Baker Mayfield, and they ended up, I guess, the first game where they didn't lose in 2 seasons was a tie against the Jets. And I found that so hilarious that it was against the Jets, because I have a number of friends who are Jets fans, that a team that just went 0-16, you draft Baker Mayfield. I think they lost, their first 2 games or something like that. You go up against the Jets and you tie with them, and that's their first non-loss. I don't know. I had a lot of hope in Baker Mayfield to really, repair things in Cleveland.
He had some good games in Cleveland.
He did have a couple good games, but then he
got him to the playoffs. They did, and they won a playoff game, I believe, right?
They did, yeah.
And the second one they could have won if the coaches hadn't made such blunders there near the end of the game.
It was more Chad Henne 14-yard run. I wouldn't put that against the coaches. I'd put that.
I don't know.
Against the players.
But they had the ball and they were driving and they got too conservative. I do think the coaches had a factor in losing that playoff game.
I don't know. They held the Chiefs to, I think it was 16 points, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, whatever. So it was a long time ago now.
I think the coaches did their job that year. But Baker Mayfield sort of got, it was 22-17. That was the game. So I think holding Patrick Mahomes to 22 points is pretty impressive. And Mahomes even got hurt in that game too. But I think when you take a look at it, Baker Mayfield, he had his chance in Carolina to right the wrong in Cleveland. He sort of got, screwed over in the first game with a couple bad coaching calls at the end of that game. And then he just didn't play well. I think through the first, I think he played started 5 or 6 games in a row. He led the league in passes batted down until like week 15, 16. So that just shows you that, he's a smaller quarterback. He gets his passes batted down easily. And I think, the Bucs just released Donovan Smith, their left tackle, who was, I believe, the most penalized player in the league last year. So you have an opening at left tackle, but it looks like Tristan Wirfs is going to move from right to left tackle. Who knows if that'll turn out okay? We'll have to see in the season. But, I think you bring in Baker Mayfield, who I think was very promising. He was the number 1 overall pick in 2018, and he hasn't really lived up to it. So we're going to have to see whether or not Baker Mayfield could really, do some damage here. And I think with Mike Evans, with Chris Godwin, you have Rachaad White. It looks like you're going to get off Leonard Fournette to clear up some cap space, but who knows? They may keep him. It just looks like, or I guess that actually they were supposed to release him. There was a report out that they're planning on releasing Leonard Fournette. I guess they haven't so far.
Yeah.
I guess it'll be Wednesday when they finally do that, when the league's new year actually comes around. But you have Rachaad White, who seemed to be a pretty good running back for them. They're still the 32nd ranked running team, and think about that. Baker Mayfield excelled when they had a phenomenal running attack with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. He's going from his best time playing, which was with a great running game, and even with the Rams and the Panthers, some of his best games were when the rushing attack was better than the passing attack.
Yeah.
And now you're going to
that
a team
isn't going to happen
that was just ranked the 32nd running team in the league.
Throwing the ball 50 times a game.
Well, that's because they couldn't run the ball.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they chose to pass it; they had to. So he's going from he's not. I don't think. He should perform fine because you have Mike Evans, you have Chris Godwin, you have Russell Gage. You should perform great. But we're talking about a guy who isn't really. I had a lot of hopes for Baker Mayfield, and he's nowhere near lived up to those expectations, especially being the number 1 overall pick. So I'm not too sure that this would work out, because you have Todd Bowles, who I think is a very, very good defensive coordinator, and it's just we saw last year with Tom Brady, the head coaching thing didn't really work out. The running game could never get started. Never get started. The defense it had such a bad drop off, especially the rushing defense. That was their claim to fame on defense, was teams could try to run the ball, they're going to fail instantly. They had a top 3 rushing defense. Take out last year, it was like the previous 3-4 seasons. Last year, I think they were like the 14th best rushing defense. They couldn't get anything going. So with Todd Bowles as a head coach, I'm not too sure if that would work very well. Honestly, have him stay in Los Angeles. Him and Sean McVay, I think, would work out pretty well. And Matt Stafford looks like he may not be, healthy. He was dealing with that elbow thing that was weird.
Yeah.
That seemed to be a lingering injury. So who knows if he's going to be 100% even heading into this season.
Well, who do the Rams have as their backup quarterback right now?
No one good. I think John Wolford still there?
Yeah, maybe.
So, I think Baker Mayfield's better than John Wolford.
Yeah, but Baker Mayfield may want a starting job. He may want to think that.
I think every quarterback wants a starting job. The question is, did you earn it?
Yeah, well, the chances of earning it probably are better in Tampa Bay than they are against Matthew Stafford.
I completely agree with
Stafford
you.
is hurt.
My point. We don't know if Stafford could stay healthy, because I think that elbow injury, the report was it's a very weird injury.
Yeah.
And generally quarterbacks don't get it, and it could linger. And who knows if Matthew Stafford's going to be 100% healthy throughout next season, because they're going all offense.
Nobody knows.
They're going all offense. They didn't have a great rushing attack last season. Their offensive line was abysmal. You had Cooper Kupp, who was hurt. Allen Robinson, you talk about underperforming. He was basically like they didn't even have another. It's like they didn't even pick him up. He wasn't even that good.
Yeah.
So you look with like Van Jefferson, and I couldn't even pronounce that guy. Last name starts with an S. I couldn't even pronounce his name. But we had that one, weird showing. Baker Mayfield, like 50 hours with the team, and you come back against the Raiders. That was your great shining moment. But after that, you weren't really all great. So go to the Bucs, and because you know what, I think it'll be like I said a couple weeks ago. I think it'll be very interesting to see what Baker Mayfield does with Chris Godwin, Russell Gage, and Mike Evans. But then once again, the rushing attack. I don't know. I'm not going to trust Baker Mayfield really. I trusted him twice, and he's failed me twice.
Well,
so we're gonna have to see.
Okay. Well, I do think that the Bucs are going to be in last place in that division this year.
I don't know if they could. Atlanta's stacking up on tight ends. They just got Jonnu Smith for a 7th round pick. I think that's a bad decision.
I'm not sure they got much.
Hey. I think the Patriots didn't know how to use him, so they at least got something out of it, because I don't know.
Maybe you should make him a running back.
No. And then what? You also got Carolina, who's drafting a rookie.
Yeah.
You don't know if they're going to be any good. You think the Cardinals with Jameis Winston could beat up on the Panthers?
The Panthers had decent defense last year.
They did have a decent defense. Yeah. So,
I thought that they should have given the coaching job to the interim guy.
Steve Wilkes. I completely agree with you.
Where did he wind up? Where's he?
I'm not too sure, actually. I know he did sign with somebody. Steve Wilkes is currently the DC of the 49ers.
Okay. So that's not bad.
Not a head coaching job, but I think that's still a very, very good job.
It is a good job.
You just signed Hargrave, the defensive tackle, I believe, from the Eagles. I think he had, double-digit sacks last season? Yeah. So you're adding a great piece to that defensive line. The 49ers right now, if we're going just strictly down the line with talent, I'm taking the totality, even without a quarterback.
No.
The totality of the talent on that team is better than anyone else in the league. The Eagles, all their players are gone. Slay requested a trade. CJ Gardner-Johnson seems like he's out. James Bradbury's out. They lost Hargrave. They're losing a bunch of their players. A bunch of their coaches are also gone. So the Eagles were maybe the most talented team. They're gone. Buffalo, they might lose some people. The Chiefs, their receivers are not as good as the... you're going to put Juju Smith or Brandon Ayuk up against Deebo Samuel? Or who else? They got Jennings. They got... what's his name? Did I say Ayuk? You got Ayuk? I mean, I would put Ayuk over MVS. I don't know. Juju, I don't know. It's close but then you got Deebo. Deebo could beat out Juju. So I think, we go down the line. If you list off how many players...
I agree with it. San Francisco has a lot of talent. The most talented team in the league. But you do have to have a decent quarterback. It doesn't have to be all world. Obviously, they proved that, right?
In that offense, yes.
In that offense. So I don't think... I'd say Sam Darnold was insurance policy. I don't think that they planning on him starting. I think they're looking for either Purdy or what's his name, the other guy?
Trey Lance?
Trey Lance to come through and be the starting quarterback.
You think he could do it, though?
I think certainly Brock Purdy can if he's healthy. Played really well when he was healthy.
How do we know that's not a Cinderella run, though?
No, you don't know for sure, but he did have 8 games where he won all 8 of them. And he played
fair.
He played very well. I mean, he didn't turn the ball over much. He managed a couple touchdown passes in every game, and he had a decent percentage completion. He played well out there, I thought, for a rookie. Very well.
I would say I was impressed with the way with the way Brock Purdy played, but we got to realize he's playing on a team like that.
Yeah, so, that's true. I mean, but he didn't muff it up. He didn't screw it up.
It's very hard to screw up that offense.
Yeah, well,
very hard.
It's possible. It is possible to do. The quarterback handles the ball on every play.
Well, of course, it's possible.
He can fumble it. He can throw an interception.
Right.
He can misread and incompletion. He can make a lot of mistakes if he's without trying very hard. He can make a lot of mistakes.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, if you want to check out the full episode, make sure you click the I in the top right-hand corner right now. If you want to listen to this show anywhere you go, make sure you go to anchor.fm/The Harvey Hour or anywhere you get your podcasts.